Joining us now is a star from NFL Network, senior insider for the NFL, friend of the program, ladies and gentlemen, Ian Rapoport.
Yeah,
What's up?
Rappy, thank you for joining us, Bob. I know you're super busy. We just talked about all the other sports that are happening. What's the big news around the NFL? Shedeur and the Titans canceling their workout? That feels like that's the big news. A couple retirements. What is the big NFL news of the day here, Rap Sheet?
It kind of feels like the Shedeur thing, right? So obviously on Friday, Colorado had its showcase, not a pro day, but a showcase, which
it was awesome. I think
it was pretty awesome. I would agree with that.
Dion yelling at scouts. Dion yelling at scouts, telling them, "Hey, you don't tell my guys how to run 40s. Okay, you just got here. Get the hell out of the way." I think Shedeur did a great job. I think Travis ran some great routes with no gloves on his hands. I feel like it was a win for everybody at this showcase. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, well, there's a lot on Travis Hunter, and I want to get to that in a second, because him deciding to run routes but not doing DB drills is interesting, but hold that for 1 second. The Shedeur Sanders look good, and if you're someone who wants to draft him at 2 or 3 or early, you saw enough where you're like, all right, like obviously the talent is there. The arm strength is, I don't know who said he couldn't throw deep. They were all angry about somebody saying that. I've not yet found the culprit of such accusations, but he has proved that that is not the case. And then, you sort of get word that the Titans mutually canceled a visit with Shedeur, which I would say to me makes sense because it looks like the Titans are going in one direction. They haven't officially confirmed or announced, but it looks like they're going in one direction, which would be to select Cam Ward at number 1. And then if that's the case, then I'm not sure what the point of a Shedeur workout anyway is, especially when it worked out for the whole world like 3 days before. So that makes sense. But in the context of like giving us an idea for what the Titans want to do, I think that's why it kind of stood out to everyone as maybe the biggest news of this weekend.
Cam Ward going number 1 to the Tennessee Titans, seemingly signed, sealed, delivered. Big convo around NFL players was Shedeur patting the ball. Patting the ball. Obviously, that is fun on the internet, and if you follow the internet, a lot of things are going to become storylines. Darius Slayton in there, Micah in there, numerous others chit-chatting about Shedeur, and that is kind of what Shedeur is. He is a lightning rod. Anything he does, people are going to talk about. He actually said that in the press conference. He goes, anywhere I go, there's a spotlight. I've been kind of followed through it all. And Andre Cisco says, boy, better stop patting that ball. We breaking on it.
Come on.
And I like the way he types out his words. I appreciate that. Then Darius Slayton of the Giants, okay, potential teammate here of Shedeur. I promise he can pat the ball and be just fine. Okay, he throws me 15, 20 balls a game. There's going to be no problem if he's patting it before it leaves his hand. But Shedeur even mentioned it. Like everything he does gets followed. Everything he does get clicks. I mean, he's got people talking about his pro day and whether or not he's patting the ball. I just saw a video of Drake May working out. I think he patted the ball a couple times. I think Aaron even every once in a while will do that. But is he doing it as much as Shedeur is doing it? Like this is like Shedeur Sanders football. Teams know that they're signing up for a lot of attention. Teams know they're signing up for all eyes on their brand. What do you think happens with Shedeur after the pro day? And what do you think I don't want to say kind of earned after his pro day, or what is the convo about him? I thought he looked good. While I was watching the pro day, I actually thought to myself, like, they say open competition at quarterback here in Indianapolis. I mean, why don't we, I like the way he looked at the pro day. But what is the kind of the convo now with him?
Well, a couple things. I would agree with what Shedeur said afterward, and he's talked about this publicly before. Like, he is in the spotlight. Everything he does, no matter what, more than any other draft prospect. It's not like unprecedented. There's a couple of these draft prospects every year, but it does seem because of his last name that it's ramped up a little bit. So I want to tell you guys a quick Shedeur Sanders story, and I mentioned this during our Combine coverage on NFL Network. So the lead up to the Combine, I was trying to figure out what Shedeur was going to do at the Combine. Was he going to throw there, or was he going to wait for his pro day? So I contact someone who kind of works with the Sanders family, and I say, who's the point man? Like, he doesn't have an agent. Who's kind of the person that media talks to so I could figure out if he's throwing? And the response I get is, Coach will contact you directly. And I'm like, Coach? Okay, well, there's not that many coaches. I'm like, would probably be Dion, but that's kind of strange, but okay. 5 minutes later, I get a FaceTime from a number I don't recognize. I answer it. obviously, Deion Sanders, which was fun because I had my kids in the car and they got a big kick out of Deion Sanders FaceTiming.
Dad's famous. He's got Coach Prime calling.
Right.
Yeah,
This
yeah,
is a
what a
by the way, Max then told people at school and they were like, yeah, sure, Max. Pretty funny. But anyway, so he's like, what do you like? What's going on, Rap? What do you need? And I'm like, I want to know what Shedeur's doing. He goes, hold on 1 second. Gives the phone to Shedeur, and he goes, talk to Rap Sheet. And so we talked, told me what he was doing, told me why, explained the plan, and talked about a couple other things that he was focusing on the next couple weeks. Hands the phone back to his dad, and he was like, you good? I was like, I'm good. And it was just an unbelievably mature, level-headed, grounded way of handling what could have been a huge issue, but like Deion wanted to make sure that Shedeur handled it himself. And I was like, this is not normal. And so like whatever comes at him, like this is someone who really is trained to handle all of it. And I was pretty impressed by that.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people bringing up, well, how many wins did they have in Colorado and yada, yada, yada. And it's like they literally rebuilt a program over there. Like yeah. And now granted, did they have a reality TV show happening at the same time via social media? Yes. Did they have a documentary happening at the same time? Yes. Coach Prime, is he one of one? Yes. There's like a lot of outliers. Travis Hunter, Heisman winner, obviously might be the number 2 overall pick, which is what everybody's saying. It's like that certainly helps. But they had to rebuild an entire program. His toughness obviously shined physically and mentally. It's just whether or not Shedeur is the guy for your team, I guess comes down to a couple people enjoying his personality. Is that kind of what it is now? Like, because that was like a little bit of a chat, or what do you think it is at this point? And it might have been Orlovsky that they were getting mad about, saying, because Orlovsky said he wanted to see him step on one.
Of course.
That's what he wanted. He said he wanted to see the ball come out of Shedeur's. Remember?
Is that what it was?
He said that on our show.
Yeah, he did. Want to see pop
out of his hands. He said he wants to see the ball come out of his hands, and he wants to see him like step on one, really drive one, like Orlovsky said that. So I don't think he was saying he didn't believe it. I think he was just saying 55% of Shedeur's passes in college were within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage. He wanted to see him open it because Dan Orlovsky's super, analyst, super analyst.
Sure.
So, like, I think that's what Orlovsky said, but I do appreciate if they got pissed off about it. Could have been others. But, like, is that what it is? Is it like, are you ready for, like, kind of everything else that comes with it that teams are trying to figure out? Or is it whether or not teams are trying to figure out they want a quarterback early still?
Well, there are teams that need a quarterback no matter what. Like, the Browns need another one from somewhere. The Giants don't need another one because they signed Russell Wilson, but they don't have a quarterback of the future. They could definitely have one. There's plenty of others. It's really just, is it worth the selection? Right? Or like, if you take Shedeur Sanders and you let's say you think he's a mid-first round pick. Let's just say, pick out a random evaluation. Let's say you think that. But you take him at 2 or 3 or 6 or wherever the Saints pick or whatever it is. Like, is that a reach or is that worth it? And are you passing on a generational talent like, let's just say, Travis Hunter? I mean, these are the conversations about the value and what it's worth. I don't think it's like, as far as the personality goes, there's a lot that goes into drafting a quarterback. And I think going into my 13th year doing it. And I really have no idea what differentiates a great quarterback prospect who's going to succeed and one who does not succeed.
Man.
Like, it's been, and obviously, like, teams.
There's a lot of busts, brother. There's a lot of busts.
yeah.
Nobody talks about it. There's a lot of busts. Yeah. Agreed. You got to figure out the mental makeup. That's why you would think a guy who's been a professional since he was a child would be good. But
I would agree.
Nonetheless, let's move past Shedeur. Let's move past Cam Ward. Let's move past Travis Hunter. There's been some news about somebody attending the draft. D-Bud has a question for you.
Yeah, you're talking about these quarterbacks coming out. We pretty much got a good grip on who's going to be the top 2. But what are you hearing as far as Jackson Dart and then Jalen Milroe accepting the invite to go to the draft in Green Bay? I know that surprised some people. What are you hearing about his stock as well as the draft gets closer?
All right. So first of all, on Milroe, I have not confirmed anything about a draft invite, and at NFL Network, those will get announced when they get announced.
Whoa!
Remember last time you did
this? Oh no! Yeah, here we go. We got a little source off. All right.
I will not confirm. I mean, it makes sense, but I will not. I do not touch those.
Does it?
Those will get announced.
Okay.
If a player gets invited, let's just say if a player gets invited, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're going in the first round. It means plenty of teams view him as a first rounder or whatever it is, right? Like, because every year there are players who get invited and then don't get taken in the first round. You said, oh, well, this is a first round pick, but this other guy fell to me. I'm going to take him instead. And a guy falls out of the draft. So, like, it was interesting to me when I saw the report. I don't necessarily know that means Jalen Milroe is definitely going in the first round, but it does seem to mean that he's in that conversation, which, like you're saying, D-Butt, does that make us kind of go like, all right, hang on. Like, is he in contention to be the third quarterback taken? It sounds like he is. So it'd be like Jackson Dart, who could potentially be the third. You have Jalen Milroe. You have Quinn Ewers. Like, the evaluations are all over the map. And that's why, like, I was not surprised when I saw the report, but I was like, all right, like, this really is more all over than I even realized, and was going to lead to an unbelievably wild first and maybe second round of this draft.
Yes. Yeah, the draft spectacular should be just that. And, maybe we'll see you out there in Green Bay because branches, which are happening all over the place. I would like to say in my life, even though, some happening sooner than later. But yeah, draft night should be incredible. And the reason why the college conversation about quarterbacks coming into the draft is so big is because what is the veteran quarterback market? Well, it's kind of already settled in a little bit, except for one guy. AP Tone has a question for you, Rap.
Yeah, Ian, a local Pittsburgh Steelers accumulator account took your video from this morning on the latest on Aaron Rodgers and said that you said if Aaron Rodgers is going to play in 2025, it's going to be for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So does that mean things have changed where the Vikings are now 100% out instead of 99% out, or what's the latest on Aaron?
I appreciate that. I would say the Vikings are as out as they could be right now. Like, if Aaron is not signed by like August and something terrible happens to either the Vikings or someone else, he would be the top guy available by a lot. I think Ryan Tannehill was in this situation last year. Tannehill ended up not signing, and kind of that's where it stays.
Wow.
I would be very surprised if Rodgers waited till after the draft. I'd be very surprised if it wasn't the Steelers if he plays. What I have not 100% been able to nail down is he absolutely, definitely playing? And I think that's why this conversation is sort of still ongoing. Plus, like, as you guys know, unless I am inside, and Kyle Brandt actually asked me a great question on Good Morning Football, was like, how do you report on Aaron Rodgers? Because his circle is so tight. And it's like, you do it by sticking to what you absolutely know. And so, like, what I think about Rodgers, what he's doing, isn't really as meaningful as what I know. And what I know is he had a good visit to the Steelers. And what I know is that he has not signed yet. That's basically it. And so that's kind of why I said what I said. I still believe that it's probably headed in that direction, which is what Art Rooney said. But until Rodgers comes out and says it in whatever form, in whatever show or format or broadcast.
Rap, why don't you give Aaron some opinions or your advice? Why don't you do that? Yeah. I'm sure that'll work out too. You talk about knowing or opining upon. Why don't you tell him like exactly what you think he should do?
Go on.
You think he's watching right now? Probably, right?
No, but a clip will get to him for sure. He might be. He's not watching right now, but the clip will make it to him. Not from us, but from somebody, I would assume. Why don't you just tell him what you think he should do? Tell him exactly how he should handle, his career, his legacy, his.
You really want? I mean, I have opinions. Do you want to know my opinions?
Yeah, quickly, because we got to get to Jay Will in the national championship here soon. But yeah, what are your opinions? You think he should go to Pittsburgh? You think he should sign with Pittsburgh? You think they should have a hell of a team next year and go on a run?
Take as much time as you need. Talking about it on TV.
Okay. All right.
That's it. It's
going to do the complete opposite. That's a good play. That's a good play. All right, last questions here coming from the Toxic Table back to back. Go ahead, boys.
Hey, Rap Sheet, we had Trey Hendrickson on the show last week, and he basically just said like he was kind of surprised by Katie Blackburn's comments. He thought it was like a April Fool's joke, essentially, about her saying, hey, like he at some point he just needs to be happy with what we offer him. Do we see there being any kind of resolution with this in like the near future? Like, is there a potential that something's going to happen before the draft, whether he gets a deal or he gets traded?
First of all, great interview. I thought the whole thing was like very, very compelling and excellent.
Thank you.
It got weird. I'm good. Not your interview, but the hearing Katie Blackburn, who rarely does media, say that was really interesting. I mean, I was like, I kind of thought the same thing. Not April Fools. I hate April Fools, but like, I was like, wow. Look, it's been a little spicy. There's been 2 trade requests, one last year, one this year. This year actually is permission, but no trade has happened. So like, yeah, it's a little messy. I believe the Bengals would like to keep him and pay him and make it work. They are not in the business of letting good players go. So even when they granted him permission to seek a trade, I believe their best option was to sign him and pay him. We'll see if that happens. I still think it is very, very possible. And if that happens, despite all the mess, it'll be a really, really good offseason in Cincinnati.
Absolutely. And, Kelsey Conway, incredible reporting there with Katie Blackburn over in Cincinnati. Trey Hendrickson seemingly does love the Bengals.
Oh, yeah.
And he said he was told last offseason that they'll get a deal done this offseason. And he understands Jamar Chase, T. Higgins got to do what they got to do. But I think he's like, you guys are telling people that you're going to get a deal done. You told me you're going to get a deal done, and then we haven't even talked. So I don't know how that works out. Hopefully it does work out because Cincinnati has a stud sack. King, last question here from Boston Connor.
Yeah, Rap Sheet, another guy who's kind of been floated out there as being traded, Tyreek Hill. What's going on in Miami with him? Is there a chance he actually does get moved again, or are they probably going to come to some sort of agreement? Because I believe it was Mike McDaniel who said last week at the league meetings, like, hey, Tyreek's been in the facility more than any other offseason this year.
Yeah, I saw he posted something where it was like mimicking a phone call. Then it was like, yeah, this one. And I'm like, are we still doing this?
Tyreek football.
I would not be. Nothing that would happen in the NFL ever, ever, ever. Got to make your bed before you do this. Social media. I mean, you just got to make your bed. I'm just saying, it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, at least like do the thing where you fold over and like the pillows are there. Whatever.
Yeah,
I'm a big bed maker. I make my bed every day.
Yeah, I bet you do. Yeah.
Yeah, I bet it's definitely you. Yeah.
No,
Your
I
wife
do.
does everything for you. We
No.
we know.
No. I fold the laundry and I make the bed every day. That's
Fold
it. I have
laundry?
very few other chores, but that's what I do. She if it were
Okay,
her,
little
it
close.
would never be made. It's ridiculous. It's a mess.
Okay, nonetheless, I appreciate the fact that you're watching this just going, what is this about? I thought we were already past this, and now we're potentially right back in it, and he needs to make his bed in the hotel that he's in.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically sums up my thoughts. Like, I would never say never on anything. I would be surprised and also make your bed.
All right. Hey, we appreciate the hell out of you, man. Thank you for keeping us updated. You're the man. Ladies and gentlemen, Ian Rapoport. So not a lot happening in the NFL right now. Julio Jones announces his retirement. Congratulations, Julio, on a hell of a run.
Julio.
Coach Saban came on the